Summer McIntosh is the best swimmer in the world right now. You may have already been able to argue that this year, but her performances at the 2025 Canadian Swimming Trials just solidified that. Out of the 5 individual events that she swam, she set new world records in 3 of them, and in the other 2, she came very close to some absurdly fast world records. That was honestly one of the greatest performances we've ever seen at one single meet. So let's break down this insanely fast meet out of Summer McIntosh and show you just why no other swimmers have come close to her level in 2025. McIntosh started things off with the 400 freestyle, an event that she has an interesting history with because she used to hold this world record for a few months before losing it to Australia's Ariane Titmus at the 2023 World Championships. McIntosh got to work right away, being out almost dead even with that world record pace at the 100 meter turn. Then over the 200 and 300 meter splits, she pushed herself way ahead of that world record pace. The most impressive part came at the end of the race, where Summer McIntosh nearly matched the insane closing speed of Titmus down the final stretch to shatter the world record at the very end. A time of 3:54.18, slicing 1.2 seconds off of the old record and nearly 2 seconds faster than her old best time. Looking at the splits between McIntosh and Titmus, we can see that she put in most of the work needed in that middle 200, but she was able to break the record by such a large amount by keeping the opening and closing 100s very close to Titmus, minimizing her losses there. That final 100 is particularly notable because closing in 58 mid was one of the things that made that swim from Titmus so impressive, and now McIntosh has done it as well while being much faster before that point. Comparing the splits between McIntosh's best times, we can also see that this is quite a change of strategy for her. In the past, she's gone out very fast and then gradually faded. No such thing happened this time. After that absolutely monumental world record, McIntosh would swim the 800 freestyle on day 2 of the meet. This event has of course been long dominated by Katie Ledecky, but many have thought that McIntosh could be just the swimmer to try and challenge her world record. She's shown great potential in this event, and many swim fans lamented the fact that the Paris Olympics schedule made the 800 freestyle a double with the 200 IM. But the 2025 World Championships has no such scheduling conflict, and McIntosh has already publicly stated that she's looking to add a 5th individual event to her lineup, and that led to her swimming the 800 freestyle at these trials, one of the few events she was considering. After that night 1 400 freestyle, for the first time in I don't even know how long, the women's 800 freestyle was under world record watch from someone not named Katie Ledecky. Over the first 100, McIntosh was just over world record pace, but 100 meters later at the 200, she was just under that pace. All the way through the 400 meter split, McIntosh would continue to outsplit the world record, gradually increasing the cushion she had on Ledecky's closing speed. Slowly on the back half of the race, the world record splits began to close in on McIntosh, but it wasn't by all that much. It took until the 700 meter turn for the world record splits to finally pass her, and it was only by 1/10 exactly. Summer McIntosh charged home over the final 100, but Ledecky closed faster. Even if it wasn't going to be a world record, it was still going to be absurdly fast. 8:05.07. That is within a second of Katie Ledecky's world record of 8:04.12, and now stands as the 3rd fastest swim in history, only being beaten by Ledecky's 2 most recent world records in the event. With her old personal best of 8:09.86, McIntosh was already the 2nd fastest performer ever, but now no one else below her on the top 10 list is even close. This race is going to be super interesting at Worlds, because obviously McIntosh looks great, but Ledecky is also looking incredible this year. I mean, she just set that world record for the first time in 9 years back in May. We have never seen a peak Katie Ledecky get pushed in the 800 freestyle before, and if that ends up happening at Worlds, both of these swimmers could go very, very fast. After that, it was time for the 200 IM, one of the events where Summer McIntosh won gold at the Paris Olympics, and in doing so, she clocked a personal best time of 2:06.56, a time that ranked as the 3rd fastest swim ever in this event. After a swim like that, McIntosh would of course be eyeing the 10-year-old world record of 2:06.12 set by the legendary Kiteka Hosu back in 2015. McIntosh blasted out ahead of world record pace right from the get-go, finishing the butterfly in a 27:19. After that, on the backstroke, McIntosh continued to outpace the world record, increasing her lead even more. Then on the breaststroke, which is McIntosh's weakest leg of the IM races, she lost her lead over the world record. With 50 meters to go, Hosu Splits had a 1/10 lead. But Summer McIntosh is an excellent freestyler, and she surged to the final wall with a blistering time of 2:05.70, a new world record and the first swimmer to ever break 2:06. Looking at the splits between this swim and the old world record, we can see that McIntosh earned a very small lead on the butterfly leg before hugely outsplitting on the backstroke leg, which is extra impressive considering Hosu has won world and Olympic medals in backstroke events before. Then on the breaststroke, McIntosh's weakness in the event shows as Hosu undoes the lead she earned in the first two legs. But after that, it's all Summer McIntosh on the freestyle as she closes in under 30 seconds to blow by the world record down the final stretch. Looking at the splits between McIntosh's two best swims, we can see that after being out a bit slower on the butterfly, she's exactly 1 full second faster on the backstroke, easily the biggest single leg difference and a bigger difference than her overall time drop. Interestingly, she actually gains a bit of time on the breaststroke. Normally, you see time drops in IM events come from a swimmer improving their weakest stroke, but it seems that McIntosh is instead going all in on the other three. Then, on the final 50, we see that McIntosh is once again shifting her race plan to be more back half oriented, as she is much faster here than she was in 2024, and as we already saw, it was the difference between breaking the world record or not. All around, this is a phenomenal swim out of Summer McIntosh, and her second world record at these trials. After that showing, it was time for another one of McIntosh's gold medal races from Paris, the 200 butterfly. If you asked a group of swimming fans which world records they think are the most unbreakable, a fair few of them would probably say the women's 200 butterfly. So there's absolutely zero chance we're going to be talking about McIntosh challenging that world record. Right? Off of the start, McIntosh is out in a speedy 27:28, not too far off of the world record pace, but a little behind. Then at the 100 turn, she's still quick, but that world record split has gotten further away, as is typical for this insane record. But then, at the 150, Summer McIntosh had a ridiculous third 50, and at the final turn is a little bit under world record pace. McIntosh is on pace for another blazing fast swim as she powers her way home to a 2:02.26, the second fastest swim in history. That swim is also by far the closest anyone has ever come to the world record time of 2:01.81. The next fastest performer in history behind McIntosh has a time of 2:03.41, over a second slower than McIntosh, and the next fastest active performer is Regan Smith with a 2:03.84. These days, a swimmer going under 2:04 in the 200 fly is enough for them to be considered really fast, so a 2:02 low is just insane. I mean, after that world record was set in 2009, it wasn't until 2021 when Zhang Yufei would next break 2:04, and after that, the only swimmers to break that barrier are her, Smith, and McIntosh. That's what I mean when I say a 2:03 anything is really fast. Also, interestingly, it's the only time anyone has ever gone a 2:02, because when Liu Zide set the world record, she jumped from a best time of 2:03 to 2:01. For her final event of the meet, Summer McIntosh had the one event where she was the reigning world record before the meet started, the 400 IM. And with how much she's been blowing away her personal best, everyone had their eyes on that world record time. McIntosh started things off as close as you can possibly get. After the butterfly leg, she was exactly tied with her world record split of 59.18. Just like in the 200 IM, McIntosh has clearly been working on that backstroke as she drops under world record pace by nearly a second here. But just like in the 200 IM, she was also slower than herself from last year on the breaststroke leg, undoing most of the advantage that she just gained, but not all of it. Going into the final leg, she was still under world record pace, and if we've learned anything this meet is that McIntosh has been working on her closing speed. Over the final 100 meters, Summer McIntosh cruised ahead of her own world record pace and touched the wall in a blistering new world record time of 4:23.65. Summer McIntosh now owns the 3 fastest swims in the history of this event, as well as 6 of the top 10 all time. She now also has a ridiculous gap of almost 3 seconds over the second fastest performer, Katinka Hosu, who is an absolute legend in the IM races. Looking at the splits between these two swims out of McIntosh, we can see that the pattern is almost the exact same as in the 200 IM. The only real difference is that tie on the first 100. After that, it's way faster on the backstroke, then way slower slower on the breaststroke, then a bit faster with that finishing speed to make the final difference down the home stretch. And with that, Summer McIntosh has concluded her 2025 Canadian National Championships. And honestly, this was one of the greatest single meet performances of all time, because McIntosh just set new world records in 3 different individual events. Do you know the last time that happened in a long course meet? 2008, when Michael Phelps did it. Granted, he did do 4. It's also worth noting that in the 2 events where she didn't get the world record, McIntosh came pretty close, and they're arguably some of the most difficult world records out there, and in doing so, she also smashed her old personal bests and Canadian records. Obviously, any world record is a big challenge, but for these two, looking at the insane gap that they used to have over the rest of the world for so long, and then considering that McIntosh came within half a second on the 200 fly and within a second in the 800, is just crazy. And I think in the year 2025, Summer McIntosh is the clear #1 swimmer in the world right now. Going into the 2025 World Championships, she has every opportunity to put on a show again, to win numerous world titles, and to maybe even lower some more world records. What did you think about Summer McIntosh's performances at this meet? Which swim was your favorite, and how fast do you think she's gonna go in Singapore? Let me know down below.